What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about XRP today. Hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this, and let's get into it, you guys. It is the 21st day of September, and here we are sitting at about $2.97. 8 hours, 55 minutes left in the day. I was unaware yesterday when I made my last video on XRP that we had an ETF approved, that the spot ETF for XRP and for Doge created by Rex Osprey's ETF, whatever it is. It's always got it's got like the apostrophe Rex dash Osprey's XRP. I was unaware that we had that, and if I had known that we had an ETF approved, that would have definitely changed the trajectory of my price predictions. Absolutely, it's very rare that news affects me to such a degree that I'm like confident in the price direction, right? I mean, don't get me wrong, you get good news, typically you expect to sell the news event, especially if it's highly anticipated. ETFs, highly anticipated to get approved or rejected or whatever. People are paying attention. A lot of people who are new to the space might think that ETFs are the best thing ever. First off, we're crypto. We're crypto people. We don't need your stinking ETFs. Maybe XRP does. XRP has always been designed to be an institutional on-ramp. But when you get an ETF, typically, it actually promotes stagnation or even at the very least, or at the very most, I should say, corrections in price, right? What happens is you get this good news after you rally up, right? You buy the hype, and then once the news comes out, you sell the news. On the day that this news came out, which was the 18th, the 18th is whenever that ETF was approved, or whenever it listed. Actually, it was on the 18th. That was the day that we actually started to move down, right? We topped off here ahead of time, a little bit ahead of time, sure. Probably some insiders knew, we moved up enough. They're like, okay, I'm just going to take profits here. Screw it. It's a few days ahead of time. But we definitely started moving down since then. I believe we have lower to go. I believe we do. I know we were talking about this holding as support here. We had this like little area that I did not expect that we'd break below. But as of now, because of the ETF approval, I'm very confident that we're going to move lower. And obviously today we've got this gravestone doji look where you have a very solid wick to the upside relevant to this candle here. It's a big wick to the upside and it looks like we're moving down. I would anticipate that we see something at about like $2.85 or lower. Yeah, something lower. Does it mean that we're going below this low? I don't think so. We don't have to go below that low at all. But if we're looking at this here from a low to a high, my expectation would be that we find support either at the 0.5 or at the golden ratio. Okay, let's look at this overall from a high to a low. I mean, 10%. In all fairness, we're getting off light here. Okay, we're getting off light here. If we don't find support here, I suppose it is possible that we could go lower. But man, that would really go counter to what I believe is going to happen by the end of this month. I don't really see an end of month drop happening. But just because I don't see it doesn't mean it can't happen. I mean, in all fairness, we do still have lower highs and lower lows. The reason why I'm measuring down here, the reason why I'm measuring it all, is because Bitcoin, whenever it had an ETF launch, it dropped about 21%. Whenever Ethereum had its ETF list, it dropped about 40%. So it doesn't really feel appropriate necessarily to call for a 9% drop, 10% drop, or a 13% drop. I'm just having a hard time imagining that XRP goes below this low at this point. Because here's the deal, guys. If XRP drops 20%, regardless of it being because of the ETF or not because of the ETF, whatever, if it drops 20%, altcoins across the board are going to drop, right? And Bitcoin would likely drop as well. And I don't see that happening. That doesn't mean it can't happen. It just goes against a lot of the narrative that we built out over the past week here. It could happen, though. It's possible. It's something that we should be prepared for at least, $2.60, $2.43. It's a possibility. It's a possibility. ETFs typically do not, and not typically, always, they prevent you from growing in the short term. They promote some kind of downtrend. Now, XRP, or I should say, sorry, Ethereum and Bitcoin, they both dropped within like a 2-week span. They found their lows and then they were done dropping. So it doesn't have to be this prolonged thing, but they dropped intense. They had a very intense rate of diminishment there. It'd be interesting to see what XRP does. I don't feel right calling for these lower prices, but whenever referencing Bitcoin and Ethereum's ETF listings and how they reacted, it seems more appropriate, right? You've got these lower lows here. I mean, it's not that it can't happen, but it's something that we should be prepared for. 260, 243, very possible. I actually want to see what does the XRP long to short ratio look like. More shorts than longs. More longs than shorts on the day. More longs than shorts on the 30-day. I mean, 284, 290. A lot of these longs get cleared out at about 284, 283. And if we were to see those longs get cleared out, let's see. I mean, 284, 283, that's right there in our golden ratio zone. So again, it's kind of odd that XRP gets an ETF listing and that it only drops 10%. But at this point in time, I'm going to call for that. I feel like I'm setting myself up for failure, but I am calling for that because that's what I'm seeing in the charts. Okay, taking the news away from it, just seeing what we're doing now, getting below the 382 here, it would make sense that we go to the golden ratio. Let's start with that. We'll see how the reactions go afterwards. If we have positive reactions, cool, that's the low. If we have negative reactions, then we can talk more seriously about this. The only reason why I focus on this so much is because we have been very bullish on XRP. We have been anticipating that there will be new all-time highs. And the whole narrative that I built out, at least in my head, and probably in some of your heads as well, is that we would pump going into the ETF listing, which might get listed at the end of October or sometime in early November, maybe at the end of the year. And then we would correct down because of that. Well, here we are with a very minor pump, and we're probably going to correct down because of it. Is it going to be a minor correction, or will it be more dramatic? Time will tell. So again, let's just start off with this golden ratio zone to see how it goes. Okay, 284 to 287. That's where I think we're going to go. Let's look at the 1 hour time frame. We'll zoom out from there, look at the indicators, see if they agree with this. Okay, 1 hour time frame here. RSI looks bearish. Yeah, it looks pretty bearish. The stochastics are bearish as well, and the MACD is bearish. So makes me think that we're going lower, right? A little bit of life, you gave it right back, and now it looks like you want to go lower. Absolutely it does. 4 hour time frame here. Not getting any life, man. And you found support here, you moved up. Here you're like grinding out this area. I would very much think that you go lower. Stochastics, bearish still. There's a little hope here, but 48 minutes left in this 4 hour candle. It looks like you want to come down. I don't think so, man. I think you're coming down. Bearish. You're rejecting the oversold zone, even more bearish, yeah. And the MACD looks bearish as well. So lower prices, my friends. Lower prices. 287, 284. Maybe even a little bit lower than that. Again, I want to be abundantly clear. In case I haven't been clear, I want to be abundantly clear. I don't believe we go below this low at the moment. But I'm very accepting of the idea that we could go below this low. More accepting of it now than I have been really since like the 10th of September. That we go below this low, okay? It just depends on what we do from here. And going lower from here does not mean that we're going lower than this low. It really depends on if we hold 284 or not, okay? At the end of the day, you guys, whether we hold support here, whether we go lower, whatever it is we do, we still got higher lows overall. And we would be finding support at prior areas of resistance back here, prior areas of resistance back here. And that would still be positive structure overall. It might throw a wrench in this end of month rally that we've been expecting. But at the end of the day, I think that October is still going to prevail to the upside. I highly doubt that we see any kind of lackluster price action in October. Maybe in the beginning we drop down a little bit, but I'd very much anticipate that by the end of October, XRP is not just at new all-time highs, but we're all the way up at prices that are at like 660, 1140, potentially as high as 1391 to 1650, right? This is the ultimate destination. This ultimately is where I believe we're going to go. I want to pull up XRP on the all-time history chart because I think it'll be a better representation. If we're looking, maybe we can just look at it on the monthly time frame. Looking at this on the monthly time frame, from a high to a low here, my expectation would be that we stop this next move all the way up here. Now, whenever I said by the end of October we could be here, that's only because I am accepting of the fact that we've been a little bit slower than anticipated, right? Definitely slower than anticipated. I still expect October to do well, so I would expect that we're at least somewhere up here. But XRP moves very, very fast. Whenever I'm saying that we could be here by the end of October, that doesn't mean these targets are off the table. That just means it's taking longer than anticipated. Maybe instead of by the end of October that we get there, it'll be by the end of the year. Personally, I think by the end of the year, XRP will be reaching for targets that are well above $13 to $16, but anything can happen. And at the very latest, I would expect we see 1380 1637, 1132, whatever, something in this area by the end of the year at the very latest. At the moment, though, I still am expecting that we'll see that by the end of October. It just depends on what we do now between now and the end of this month of September, what we do in the first week of October. If by the first week of October we're at lower prices than we are here, we're probably not going to be all the way up here by the end of the month. Okay, I hope that's clear. Okay. I did not expect that this ETF would be getting listed right now, and I do think it throws a wrench in things a little bit. But let's see how the market reacts. It is Monday tomorrow. Okay, we have the weekly close upon us here. Maybe I'm being dramatic. Maybe the market won't react as dramatically, and they'll react more dovish, more bullishly, but we'll see. Right now, 8 hours, 44 minutes left. I will say that's a bearish close to this week, and it would make me think that we have lower to go. Does that mean that we go lower than this low? No. But again, it's something we should be prepared for. And we'll definitely talk about that going forward as the week progresses. So I got nothing else. Hit the like button, subscribe. Thank you all for being here. Take care. Bye-bye.